the table is worst uniforms that your team has ever worn. I gave you my two for Ole Miss football. The all gray uniforms, the gray jerseys, gray pants. It was brutal. And the day that they decided to be bad high school uniforms, I think that was in the Hugh Freeze era, where they wore navy blue pants that said Rebels on one of the legs to go with red jerseys. I mean, it was gross.
I remember that game vividly. They played Presbyterian, and I believe won 44-0. And I watched every snap of that game because Presbyterian had a couple of guys on their team that I played high school ball with, including my quarterback. Didn't play quarterback for them, but Jeremiah Mackey. Anyway, so I watched every snap of that game to see Jeremiah play against the worst uniforms that Ole Miss could possibly wear. I agree with you there. The state ones are the all-black. They desecrated the American flag on those black uniforms with the weird stars and stripes, but there's no red, white, or blue on the jersey. And
I thought about those. It's tough for state to do a patriotic uniform when they can't wear red or blue. State cannot wear red and blue. They just can't. So it's tough. They went the black and silver, but the American flag outline. It wasn't great. It wasn't great, for sure. We're going to get some honorable mentions. State's Mullen's second year, State went to LSU and wore maroon helmet, black jersey, maroon pants. Awful. Just really bad. So we'll go with that. I never really liked the gold helmets from the Egg Bowl in 2013. I think the only reason I tolerate them is that State won the game, but those gold helmets are not great. But
didn't they wear those more than 1 year?
They only wore the gold helmets one time. They have not worn them since.
Okay.
All of these things that we've listed, though, and all the things that Richard listed, one-time deals. One time they wore them, and they're like, those are awful, never again. Let's try 5 seasons of Russell Athletic crimson jerseys, white helmet with the soft banner M, and the white pants. They looked like a junior high team every time they took the field, and the all white uniforms were so much worse. So much worse. It was just awful. It wasn't even maroon. It was crimson. Croom's out there like, well, I coached Alabama, close enough.
So that was the Croom era uniform.
04 to 08. God, miserable times uniform-wise.
I'm just doing like a Google search of Mississippi State football 2006 to try and find.
Oh, you picked like the worst year of the Croom era, too. They only scored like 150 points the whole year. So bad. Just so bad. And they'd gone from those crisp, the Nike jerseys and the interlocking MSU that everybody loves and still loves and would love to see back. They had gone from that to this, to Russell Athletic, an SEC team on Russell Athletic. I mean, Russell is what my 1A high school used my senior year. Like, it's a step above champion. We're almost at winner's choice. Was Walmart not willing to bid? What happened?
I mean, look, Auburn was with Russell until like 10 or 12 years ago. Now, it was kind of in their backyard, the Russell factory. There were a lot of schools that wore Russell. There was a time where some teams wore Sports Bell. Ole Miss had a year or two where they wore Sports Bell jerseys. So did Tennessee. Tennessee, maybe even early in the Peyton Manning era, was wearing the Sports Bell uniforms.
Our high school team, JV and C team, which was 8th graders and freshmen, wore Bell.
Yeah. We had Russell jerseys in high school. That was before all the high schools started doing Nike and Adidas and Under Armour uniforms.
Yeah. No more universally reviled uniforms for Mississippi State than those. For all time, though, for me, my choice, the Florida uniforms where they tried to mimic the gator skin.
Yeah,
that's my choice for the worst ever. Like that, it was like that sickly swamp green with the scales everywhere. It's just awful.
Well, I think the worst Mississippi State uniform ever was a baseball jersey. And there were people that got really mad at what I said on the radio. It was when I was working alongside David Kellum and Mississippi State. I mean, Mississippi State has some of the traditionally best uniforms you'll find in college baseball when they don't step out of the tradition lane. But I think it may have been in that Russell era. Hey, Dad. And I made the comment that their baseball uniforms look like softball jerseys with a NASCAR flair. It was not well received by Bulldog fans, but it was on point.
And I mean, State's baseball uniforms, the past few years have been really good, really good. Because they've focused more on what you just said, the traditional, the 85s, the M over S with the pens, good stuff. Yeah. So you go back like 5 or 6 years when they were wearing like that all gray uniform that looked like it was a pair of pajamas. They had a really bad digi camo look one game. We're not even going to get into warm up shirts, are we? So, yeah. There have been some bad choices made for Mississippi State at the uniform. This is by the way, this is still right now one of the hottest message board topics you can get. Everybody wants to go back to interlocking or to M over S the full time. Nobody likes that banner M. Nobody likes it. Unfortunately, State has tied so much branding to it, I don't know that they'll ever get rid of it.
I know what the answer is. I know already. I know. But the baseball M over S should be an all sports logo. And I know baseball should have it, but you play in the SEC West. Football generates all the revenue. If the logo would look good on a football uniform, you should put it on a football uniform regardless of what the baseball team does. That's the one. That's the money logo. It's the baseball's MS. When you put it on football helmets, it looks spectacular.
Yeah, I agree.
It should be on everything. It's
somebody
such a good
line
look.
They just rehash the old, well, Nike owns the interlocking MSU. Not true. It was a lie. Lie told by the old athletic administration to try to get y'all to accept Russell and the terrible banner M they used to have back then. Mississippi State still owns that trademark. Could put it out tomorrow if they wanted to.
Do they really?
Yes.
Somebody says, to your point, I want to see the MSU logo come back, but probably won't since Templeton sold it to Nike.
Incorrect. Just incorrect. That was a straight, bold-faced lie that was told to people.
Bama has the best uniform, crimson on white or white on crimson. They don't ever wear white on crimson. They either wear crimson on white or white on white.
Right.
It says, I guess when you're the best, uniforms don't matter.
Well, but when you're the best, you don't have to change.
And look,
exactly, they don't have to change.
And Alabama had this one weekend where they had an alternate jersey. And you know what the alternate was? The collar on the uniform was houndstooth. And Alabama fans hated it. And they should have. You got houndstooth all over the place, all over the stands, whatever. Doesn't need to be on your football uniforms. Don't mess with it. Auburn really never messes with their uniforms either. Sports